Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on Intelligent Information Driven Project Management for Business Excellence. Firstly, I thank you all for joining our webinar. Hope you are all doing well and staying safe. Today, we have a discussion on project management capabilities by two of our panelists. Let me introduce them first. Our first panelist is Mr. Arun Prasad, who is working as Technical Manager PLM at EDS Technologies. He carries a rich experience of more than 20 years in CAD, CAM, PLM, consulting, pre-sales, post-sale support, and training. Our second panelist is Mr. Himanshu Chawla, who is working as Senior Solutions Architect at Dassault Systems. He is a certified project management practitioner with more than 17 years experience in design and product development. He has a good hands-on knowledge of CAD, PLM, ERP tools, and has headed various projects in automotive, industrial equipment, and heavy machinery segments. Before beginning the discussion, I would like to inform the audience that if they have any questions related to the topic, they can type the same in the question box or the chat box. The panelists will answer it during the Q&A session. I'd like to welcome Mr. Arun now to take over and start the discussion. Over to you, Arun.
Thanks, Abhay, for setting up the context and introducing us. I shall now take you through the session. So I shall now take you through the agenda of this today's session. I'll be taking you through a brief about our organization, about EDS Technologies, followed by about Dassault Systèmes and our relationship with Dassault Systèmes to market and sell their range of products across India, and then followed by how to effectively leverage project management across the organizations, their challenges and the issues that are being faced, and how do you leverage 3D experience platform for project management excellence, followed by Q&A. With that, let me introduce about our organization. We are EDS Technologies Private Limited. We started our operation in the year 1994, having our presence across all over India, pan-India presence, with the headquarters in Bangalore and all leading cities that you can see on the right side of the screen. We have a 25 plus years of our existence in India, supporting all the customers in various and diversified fields of applications. We are a platinum partner to Dassault Systèmes to market and sell their range of products and support more than 1,500 active live customers. We are one of the largest PLM and engineering solutions provider in India, with 7+ offices across India, as you see. We have strategic alliances with various other world leader solutions and with dedicated sales support, marketing, and customer satisfaction teams to address the end-to-end requirement of all our customer needs. We would like to be one of one-stop solution providers to all the end-to-end requirement of our customers across India. We also have a robust e-learning portal where we have various training contents that are available for each and every business domains, right from the trainee levels to an expert level, who can access to this e-learning portal with free courses as well as paid courses that you would like to scale up as part of your skills are concerned. So having said that, let me move on to the about our Dassault Systèmes. Dassault Systèmes is a focus-driven organization with about 40 years of its presence globally, and with about 20,000 plus passionate people spread across 195 sites, supporting 270K customers globally, addressing 11 plus industry verticals across the globe of 140 countries. They have also recently ventured into the infrastructure and life sciences domain, catering to all the needs of this particular domain that we are talking about. And we also have the partner ecosystem of about 12.6K partners globally across, supporting all the end-to-end requirement of every customers that for all the solutions that we sell to these customers. So having said that, let me quickly take you to the now having just talked about ourselves and our relationship with Dassault Systèmes. Now let's talk about the challenges that we are being faced with in today's competitive world. The various challenges that we come across in terms of data handling, in terms of product complexities, in terms of projects. These are certain challenges which we see as part of the project management, where every project managers are faced with. And with that, if there is no adoption of the right technologies, one can imagine what would be the impact of how the life of this particular project manager would be. Let me take you to one small example as you see here. For example, let's say a person would like to move from point A to the target point B. So as you see on the static map, it just shows you one unidirectional static image, which just gives you the start and end point, and then that is all. And what I meant by this is when there is a technology with and if there is the technology which is not rightly adapted, so what happens is it leads to a certain various kind of challenges. But at the same time, if you have to think about technologies which is available, where it is smart enough, which is very intelligent enough, which can give you for the same point A to point B, if that person has to move to or has to move from this point A location to a point B, with the right adoption of the tools and technologies, as you see on the screen, with information. It is not just statics, but with informations related to the traffics, information related to the location, specific locations, and the individual location between the start and the end point, the various end guiding factors, all those things. Imagine how the life of that particular person would be. And typically that would be the same, exactly the same, that I would want to mention here again, that with the right technologies and with the right adoption of the tools and technologies, there could be various benefits that one could leverage by utilizing or leveraging these particular tools and technologies. And that applies to the same even to a project manager. When there is a right adoption, right adaptation of the right technologies and the tools, the impact would definitely be something which that the project manager would love to be. Now that we have understood the complexities in general and with respect to the project management, now let's hear from our expert, Mr. Himanshu Chawla from Dassault Systèmes, to throw some lights on the technologies and the tools that are available that can help us to address the day-to-day program management challenges and also the challenges in general. Himanshu, hi Himanshu, hope you're doing good. Welcome aboard.
Good afternoon, Arun. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I think you said the right context. I mean, adoption of the right kind of technologies is which may be intelligent enough to help any consumer can definitely impact their lives in a much positive manner. Um,
I agree with you,
yes.
Himanshu. I agree completely with you. I look forward to things that you would like to showcase here. Over to you, Himanshu, again.
Thank you, Arun. Yes, so we will talk about many tools and technologies, and maybe some of the examples on how people have really changed their lives during this webinar. Yes, Arun. So Arun, if you are okay, maybe I can share my screen just for a bit. And I
Yes.
thought maybe we will talk about a few things here. Um, Starting maybe from general challenges that we have in the industry today.
Exactly.
So I think I wanted to maybe highlight the kind of challenges we are facing across the industry due to the complexities in business and many other things. So here is basically view to it. So if you see in today's world, we are actually having high customer expectations across all our businesses, and we also know that there are actually new business models which are coming up in terms of the industry. Everywhere you see there are new and new business models, and the new giants or so-called new disruptors are coming in with these new business models. So that complexity is increasing in the market. But also if you can see, the product itself it's getting smarter. Now we are talking about smart devices, smart products, and then not just that, there is also the requirement of a customized experience from every customer. So there is a steep trend from moving from mass production to mass customization, and that increases the overall complexity for any customer or any supplier giving the products. Then we definitely want to do our projects faster. Even today in this world, our teams are distributed. We are in the times of COVID. People are working at home. Some of them are working remote. They can be also sitting worldwide because we have multiple locations usually in operations. And then at the center of all of this lies our data. Now, the
Yes.
complexity of data is yet another topic, maybe, which can really drive us into a lot of challenges, and we will talk about that challenge as well here. So, and
Yeah.
then if you really see, if I compare from traditional times, I talked about data, and data today, you can see that we are producing around 50 times more data around the
Oh,
product today,
yes.
and nearly 19 times more data which is unstructured. So just
Yes.
imagine, these are lying in your mails, this data is lying in your desk somewhere in a document, something like that. And then obviously we have talked about smart products, and smart devices are now creating Internet of Things data, right? So we
Yeah, I
have
agree.
that data also coming in for the product, and everything needs to be managed. Now, because of this complexity, just imagine that only 36% of the projects are actually being delivered on time and on budget.
Yeah.
While, there's a big percentage, around 45% of them, which are being challenged if they have really given the benefits that they were perceived for. And there is a big number here I'm highlighting, around 19% of these projects, they may just fail. And this number can only increase with the complexities that you are seeing on the left hand side, increasing every day.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Arun,
Yeah.
you can see.
Yes, now that's an interesting factual information that you're bringing on the screen. Nice that you have brought in the data challenges part of it. Himanshu, can you throw some more light on the data handling part? How do we address these challenges? How do we overcome these challenges? As you have rightly pointed out, it is just not going to come down. It is always going to pile up, right?
Yes, I absolutely agree to you, Arun. And I think I did think that we should talk about data as well. So if you really see, one of the biggest reason the complexity of data is it grows, and it grows in a multifold manner, is because we have various systems to handle this data. So when it comes to technological perspective, there is basically a number of systems we have across our organization, or number of, I'll say, functions we have across our organizations, or sub functions where we handle this data. And for example, I've actually raised few of them here. If you see, requirements in general are usually handled somewhere else. They may be lying in a
Yeah.
Excel for a project or for a product. They may be lying maybe somewhere in a requirement management tool. On the other side, the product data is handled somewhere else. For example, if you're an organization which does packaging, the packaging may be lying in another tool, the way you design your packaging. It may be a CAD system, it may be something like Adobe tools or some other design tools for the labeling. Then if you're basically a software creator, these kind of information may lie in somewhere of a source code management tool or something like that. And on the other side, if you're basically an OEM or a manufacturer of other things, again, there could be other different kind of CAD tools where you may be actually keeping this information. On the other
Yes.
side, the schedule is usually handled either by some sort of project management tools, or Excels, or some other sheets. And resources, we all know, can be scattered
Absolutely.
everywhere. Now,
Absolutely.
one of the biggest challenges is that how do you bring these silos, or how do you really uh, break these silos, or bring them all together at one place, and then really move towards bringing in the efficiency into a system. But since we have these challenges, people actually end up wasting nearly 30% of their time on just non-value added activities.
Yeah.
you know and these could be anything. The ones that I've listed are just a few, but these could be anything. And
Yeah.
because of this, your overall costs in an organization actually start to increase. Even your errors that you actually have during the creation of this data, because there is a lot of intervention, manual intervention when taking information from one system to another. It increases, and overall productivity anyways goes low. Now,
Yeah.
to really handle this, what we have done is we've brought in a single platform to put all of these things in one platform, placed at one place, linked to each other. And that is the 3D experience platform, which actually allows you not just handling this, but allows you something we call the invisible governance. And then it also powers you with the, say, power of intelligence or analytics, so-called analytics, on top of this platform. So that's basically how we are able to actually manage these challenges. And if you do this, or if you adopt such a platform, what happens is that your organization starts to collaborate more efficiently. Your productivity goes high, speeds get faster, your organization is more agile. You will have higher visibility of things that are happening around you. And resultant of all this is that you kind of bring an alignment across your organization. That's the kind of message there is because of these technologies or the adoptions that we are talking today. So
That's
Arun,
great. That's
you
great,
see.
Himanshu. I think one single platform that can manage the entire different stages of your requirement, which is being managed in silos, and you're bringing it in one single platform. That's the beauty that I would like to also mention to the audience. And I'm sure the audience would also appreciate that if I am able to manage everything in one single platform and deliver on time, that really is what I would love to have it. Thanks, Himanshu, for giving us this insight. But then, since you have brought in a point of this 3D experience platform, uh, can you explain us more about what is this 3D experience platform? What are its capabilities, and what more can you do out of this particular platform?
Yeah, I think you brought in the right thing. So Arun, just for your, I think you know this, but just for the audience's information, I actually I love this platform in my daily work usage. And just for your information, I'm actually managing all of this, say, content that I'm presenting today on the platform. I thought I'll probably show many of these things live. So this is, as you can see, is 3D experience platform. This is actually a business innovation platform, which brings all your needs in terms of product development, product lifecycle management, and beyond, into even your manufacturing, say, requirements. All of them creating a digital continuity thread between one function to another on a single platform. For example, maybe I can highlight this chart here. You can see that 3D experience platform can actually handle your product planning needs as well as the product execution needs. There are various functions when I talk about a product's life cycle, starting from maybe when you want to manage your ideation process to even the portfolio handling, or whether you want to manage your RFQs, your requirements, your APQP projects, or any other projects you want to handle, your CAD data, or any other kind of data, bill of materials, your manufacturing planning needs, whether it is your BOMs or any kind of testing requirements, simulation requirements, moving from the planning part, whether it is the quality planning as well, to also the product execution part, where you can see that it can actually handle starting from your manufacturing execution to the logistics and the supply chain needs, or even your S&OP needs. So all of it coming on one platform, trying to say stitch the thread of digital continuity on a single platform. So that's basically what 3D experience platform is for me and for customers. But today, even though we are only focused on say the projects and the intelligence of on the platform, we will probably restrict ourselves to that topic. But in general, yes, that's the power of 3D experience platform. Arun.
Yeah, that's really good, Himanshu, for bringing it to the audience to the complete pack of this particular solution, how it can help them, not just the topic what we are discussing today, but what other things they can do with this particular presentation that you have just shown on the screen. Yeah, moving on, Himanshu, I was just thinking, yes, product complexity or the product data handling part is one of the pillar that you have rightly touched upon, and I'm sure that is very important. But I'm also thinking that from the manufacturing point of view, from the project point of view, scheduling is another important pillar that we have to look at it, right? What do you say about that, Himanshu?
Yes, not just scheduling, Arun. I also think that you must also talk about the data handling or the
Yes.
product data itself.
Yeah.
So I actually thought that we'll talk about it as well. And yeah, I brought in an example of one of customers, which is Sharda. This is actually a company which is an automotive manufacturer, and yeah, there is a small testimony from them. If you can see that this customer actually has multiple, say, plants across the country, where they actually also had a challenge of actually having the project management skill across all locations, and they wanted to manage their new product development or the APQP projects at one place. Now, what really changed for them after the adoption of the platform is that they were able to actually have the visibility across all the projects sitting at one place, you know and or they also brought people away from silos, trying to help them collaborate, sitting on their seats across their organization. And how they were able to actually do it, I think that's also important. And for that, I thought I will probably do some illustration here again. So if I want to handle the project data, one of the biggest challenges I have is every day I go about, in my office as a projects person, thinking, what do I need to do? Let me just think, okay, this is what I had to do. Now, then once I see, I also start to analyze, okay, where is it that information that I need to go? Then when do I need to finish it? And this kind of thing, when I start to do, I actually end up looking into my, emails, my phone, to retrieve the product data or information that is there, or even your folders. And then I create more information around it and update others about the same in the same fashion. Now, what really happens? I do this every day on everything that I do, every task that I have, every time. But in the end, what really the challenge is that you end up really forgetting or creating gaps between information and the product data management. On the other side, if you do it on the 3D experience platform, you do have a structured approach of having the project folders on the platform itself. But then it's not just that, there is also your schedule. And the interesting part is that you can actually create links between them live on that project plan itself. And something that I will actually highlight for you in a later stage. But when you do this, the overall collaboration, agility, visibility, and obviously your alignment in the organization actually starts to increase. Now, when I talk of the product data, this could be actually much more complex than just simply giving the documents away, or just creation of the documents. In certain cases, like in the manufacturing field, this could be even the CAD data, or it could come from software data. It could be any of the other data. So when I talk about such complexity in the data, so I just thought I will highlight a few examples. For example, here is a environment from 3D experience platform in the CAD side, how the design information along with all the project information is actually available to the designers at one place. Looking at it at one place, trying to connect them together, this is how it's easy it is. And then to handle that complexity, the ease that they have is that they can be in any environment, whether it's any of the tools. The solution can actually integrate into it. For example, here I'm actually dragging and dropping my CAD data from, let's say, my CAD environment, just dragging and dropping it into my CAD, and here you can load that information. And once you're done, all you need to do is update it in your environment, whether it is MS Office or anything like that, and just simply paste it into, let's say, your task, and send it back to the project management tool. So that kind of complexity, we are talking in terms of data handling. And I also have that live example I thought I will probably show you, where you can actually see if anybody has actually added any information. I can see it right on my project schedule. I can click on it. If I have the access, I can actually see it. I can also see other information around my project right here. Also, I was talking that same information can be in the folders, which are actually a standard part of your projects. You can actually configure them as per your own needs. But yes, you did talk about schedule, which I think I must also take. So I have that pillar also highlighted. And to really tell you that how schedule, say, handling or control over your schedule can change your life. And here is basically a testimony from one of our customers, which is Suprajit, where they actually mentioned that it has become so easy for their leaders to actually do their project reviews, and it becomes faster and simpler for them to all these to check all these statuses of their project very quickly. Now, how can you do that? How can you actually have such a control over your project? Just to highlight this, if you can really see, usually what we do is we actually handle our projects in a very static manner,
Yes.
in tools that are well known in the industry. But we also tend to make a lot of files. So I keep a copy of that file, send that copy of a file to somebody. So there are many copies or many versions of the same truth that are lying across your organization. Then I actually also do manual updating of my schedule there. And then
Okay.
as soon as I've actually updated the schedule, somebody's already started to work on it. So whatever information I have is never a real-time information. It's always out of date information. Now, how
Yes.
do you change that? The example is 3D experience again, where I can actually see my project schedule in live. Not just that, it helps me with the general project management things that I need, tracking my phase, milestone, gate, my deliveries on the project, but also then there is more. The solution or the platform can help you add the sub projects to your project. It can actually help you have the real time state of the project. For example, if you can see, anytime anybody updates this information, all of that is actually automatically captured. You can also see the amount of percentage that is complete, and we'll talk about that in detail, how this actually gets updated automatically. Not just that, if you see, yeah, obviously this is yet something that I already talked of, that your static becomes dynamic, your general copies, they come online, you become more data driven than manual perception of anything, and your data becomes real time. That's exactly the power we were always talking of. And also, to give you another example, let's say if I'm actually having a schedule and I have a planned schedule versus a real-time schedule, I can actually do it with the click of a button by comparing to any of my baselines on the Gantt, real time on the and to the real-time status of the project. And when I talk of schedule, Arun, I think I always have a view that the schedule is more about, or a project manager on a project management tool or a project itself is more about him being the control. And how do you set such control over your project? It's not
Yeah.
just about defining the schedule, ensuring that schedule also takes a lot of other parameters. For example, how do you handle your resources?
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
exactly what actually makes you control or give you the control of the schedule. And there is a inbuilt, let's say, resource management say capability which comes in the project. There is a lot of other things. You can assign these tasks on clicks of buttons. You can actually take these people off from that, and also give them a view, give users a view, a real-time view of the projects, which they can actually manage their daily tasks on, very easily. And not just that, once everything is happening for a project manager, what really comes out for the overall organization? And that's this kind of intelligent status, real-time status, which comes out. You have these real-time dashboards which are available, where you can not only see the KPIs of your project, let's say whether it is on your resources or on your scope or on your schedule, but also there is a chance that you can actually predict the business scenarios and also track not just the opportunities on your business but also the risks on your project. And then maybe also you can real time track the issues that you may have within that. So you see, Arun, that's the
Yeah.
kind of control we have over the schedule. And just to highlight that, I can probably show you a small schedule which I have here in real time, where I have all the say things shown on that schedule in real life, in real in live itself. And then I can also do a lot more than just that much. So,
Yes.
Arun.
Yeah, well explained, Himanshu. I think it's very well articulated in a short span. You have completely covered the product handling part, product data handling part, and the schedule, how you can manage through the 3D experience platform. And the beauty of it is you're all managing this in one single platform. I think that is the more appreciative. Well, Himanshu, now that we have talked about the two pillars, I would quickly want to understand, and in fact, make the audience understand. I see this invisible governance that you have talked about a little while back. I'm very curious, and I'm sure even the audience would be curious about to know if you may explain or throw some more lights how you can bring in this invisible governance through this platform.
Yes. Yes, Arun, thank you. I think, yes, that's definitely something that the audience should understand. So, when I say I'm a project manager, the governance part is something that I actually spend a lot of efforts, or in fact, the entire projects team actually tends to spend a lot of time and effort on the governance of the project. That's very important. We adhere to the right kind of delivery timelines. We put in the right quality of delivery, and we will also want to do that on budget. And all of this actually can be handled within the 3D experience platform. Whether it is your schedule, I already talked of the schedule. Let's say if anybody is working on the schedule, you can see that in real time. All that information. And not just this, you can actually see the schedule also on a Gantt chart. If there is a Gantt chart view which is available on the platform itself, you can actually manipulate this as much as you want, as any other standard leading tool in the industry. But then you can also maybe do a lot more. You can actually probably color anything if you want to track it very closely. I can also see the real-time status of my assignees. If I've added somebody to a task, I can actually see their availability. Let's say here is basically a graph which shows me real-time availability of my resources. So the resource governance itself becomes a part of this whole thing. Then if I want to collaborate, the governance or the adherence to the entire thing can be handled right here by even setting up managing your decisions, your let's say maybe your issues or any other meetings that you may have held actually are captured here. Also, I can manage my financials on the project. I can do my budgets and expense planning on the project itself. And I can also handle all the say what should I say accesses to the project in real time right here. But when I compare it to some other places, how do we do this in general? I think you must see that in general, this governance is very static in nature. For example, here is something that I would highlight. If you see that in a general sense, this is how my project really looks like. Let's say I have maybe a phase, and then I have a gate, and then I have another phase, and I have a gate, and so on. Now, if I want to really go and tell the status to people, how do I do it? What I do is I actually say click maybe a line and say, okay, my work is 45% done. This can be done on any task, any phase. It's a project manager's personal view. He says, okay, or maybe there are some guidelines, but this is usually manually done. And he can actually say, okay, 45% of this work is done. Yeah, maybe the same can be, for further cases. But if you have 3D experience platform, what happens is that every task, every deliverable, anything that you're actually adding to the platform actually
Yeah.
goes through a life cycle. And
Yes.
based on that life cycle, you can actually see that there are automatic changes that you will actually have. If your work is 100%, then your task is 100% complete. And that's the kind of governance that actually happens. And here is basically also an example, a quick example for you, where I've actually shown that if I have a task, which is, and this is actually a view for all the users. Let's say these are the tasks that have been assigned to me. And if I go to that task and say, okay, I've actually done, let's say, 20% or 30% of my task, and I do a save, automatically the solution is driving this thing and moving my task to in work. So if I've started to work on it, it automatically changes, and this status can be seen in the project in real life, in real time. I can just simply go to my project, go to my schedule of the project, and track this,
The status of
in
that.
real time, and the project manager will be able to see the real time status of that task. For
Yes.
example,
Yes.
here is that task
Mhm.
which I actually started to work. It goes to in work here. So that's the kind of thing that we are talking, a governance which is invisible in nature. You don't really need to do much at your end, Arun.
Yeah, I agree with you, Himanshu. I think that's the need of the hour, where at this pandemic situation, where we are, most of the offices, I think the people are working from home. There's a mix of model that work from home, work from office, and also people might be traveling or on the business trips. You still have to have access to your day-to-day activities and what is happening. And you have rightly illustrated with an example on this particular platform. That's the power of this tool that I can say. Yes, well, Himanshu, now that we have touched on the three pillars and the most important one, the project analytics part. Yes, I would like you to throw us some more insights about this project analytics, how powerful this is to the audience here.
Yes, Arun, and that was, I think, one of the key highlights of our discussion today. So you
Yes.
can see that there's actually not just one customer. I've highlighted one, but then there are so many customers across the globe who have actually come across the power of 3D experience platform, and they have mentioned that this is what they were looking for and has helped them immensely to streamline their projects. Now, just to highlight to everyone that 3D Experience platform has a lot of know-how in itself, not just that it is, say, very strong at the collaboration part of the things, but then there is also a science and the modeling and the simulation know-how, or an engine inbuilt within the platform. I mentioned that there's a lot of know-how across various functions. Plus, there is a huge, say, benefit you can take from the data science and the big data, say, engine that is available in the 3D experience platform. Now, to highlight the analytics power, so I just thought I will show one of these dashboards, and this is actually just at one glance. Imagine that you're sitting with your project manager, or with your management, or maybe as a program manager sitting on your seat. In one glance, you can actually see the health of all your projects. And this is kind of view you have, where I can
Yes.
see my project's overall status, and I can also see if there is any financial status things, and anything that's in red. And so, for example, I can see the resources is a chance of me for concern, and I can actually drill down to that thing right away. And all of these say dashboards that you are seeing here are actually dynamic in nature. So when I say dynamic, all you need to do is click on them, and then rest of the, say, charts will automatically start to say configure themselves, or will change their focus based on the filters that you have added. Now, to highlight this, I actually had a different view of the same dashboard here. For example, here is basically a much more enhanced view of the same dashboard and the intelligence that the platform handles on the project side. Now you can actually ask those questions, and this actually configuration of the dashboard is based on such questions that what is the overall progress of the tasks. And on the right hand side, I have a clear graph showcasing to me that this is the way my tasks are progressing and also predicted to progress. And if you see, there are dates which are lying in future. So the prediction itself on your tasks and how the status will remain across your organization, across your projects, can actually be seen right here. And then I can also see maybe say any gate related information if I have any say readiness on the gates. So that and more actually. So just you need to probably give me a minute. I have logged in after quite a lot of time, and maybe my login may not have refreshed, but yes, you can see that I can actually see that I am ready early for a few projects, than 2 weeks, earlier than 2 weeks. And then we also talked about resource. Here's just another example. Just by clicking on the view, you can see that I can actually see how my resources or my staffing, say, is actually handling the tasks. Now, why do I look at the tasks? Why do I actually look at how my resources are handling the tasks? Okay, let me just show you. Let's say I have an overall progress, say, chart here. Maybe since this chart is very small, I will say just dynamically take off a couple of parameters from here, but I can see how my prediction on my staffing was and how the actuals remain. And then I can see a clear line of progress across the time. I can also track what will be my staffing needs in the years to come based on my project plan. So I've defined my project. I've already made my plan and it is still in progress. But just by that information, what the platform can do is it can tell you which part of what time you will need what kind of staffing. So this helps me hire people in advance. I will also be able to clearly see what kind of skill sets I need at what point of
Yes.
time across my timelines. So you can see that I have listed various skill sets. For example, obviously here I just mentioned about the CAD skill sets, but maybe if I need to understand what are my testing requirements across the timelines, I can actually start to hire much in advance. And not just that, there is a lot more parameters, how I have actually assigned, what kind of skills I have assigned to people, what kind of skills are actually assigned to each project. And these dashboards are easily configurable. You can actually take any information in or out based on the analysis that you want to do. Very similar thing for your schedules as well. There is a
Yeah.
whole lots of analysis that is available. So Arun, you can see it's just a glimpse of the power of the analysis that you can do. There's a lot more. You can drill down to each task level and go and understand which are those tasks, which are those risks that are going to hamper my project. You can
Yes.
keep clicking on them and keep highlighting that information on a very dynamic basis. So just as soon as I click, everything updates. And that's the kind of power that the analytics platform and the power of the platform actually gives you.
Isn't it impressive, Himanshu? That's that is what the each and every project managers or the management team would love to have access to the historical data and plan ahead to avoid these kind of which would help us to avoid the problems and predict the problems or the challenges and be prepared to address these challenges. I'm sure this analytical or the intelligence platform will definitely help, and every project manager or the management team would love to have this as one of the regular solution. With that, Himanshu, I think we have touched all the four pillars, all the four important pillars of this particular solution, and we have talked from the beginning of this particular session. We have touched on to the challenges. How do we address these challenges? And you have rightly illustrated with examples on this powerful 3D experience platform. And I'm sure even the audience would agree with that, the power of this particular 3D experience platform covering all the topic on this particular session. With that, I think we have come to the end of this session, a wonderful session on the intelligent information session of this particular topic that we are talking about. I think we have touched upon right from the problem statements to the how we address this challenges by way of demonstrating on the tool live. And we have also touched upon right from the not just the project management part of it, but also the analytical part of it with historical information, empowering the, I would say, empowering the project manager and the management team to be well prepared, having the historical information and see how we can avoid it for future projects and so on. I think I would end up this session that having taking into the consideration that my audience would also have got a very good idea about how the 3D experience platform can help them manage all their projects effectively and efficiently. If they are not currently, I think this is an opportunity that they would like to leverage and see if they can utilize this tool and overcome those challenges. And I would request all the customers, if they have anything that you can feel free to reach out to us. Our contacts are visible on the screen. I hope you have made a note of this. And with that note, I would wish you all the best, and also be safe and healthy from this pandemic environment. Thank you all. Thank you, Himanshu. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Arun. Thank you, everyone. Wishing you all a lot of good time, safe time. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.